Rupert Hook being administratively suspended from the Labour Party, she basically said that Kwasi Kwarteng was only superficially black. Has Labour got a race problem?
No. Rupert has been suspended immediately. That's what Keir's party does. If somebody steps out of line, they get suspended and it all gets looked into. So I think swift action is the best answer.
Concerning that she said it at all, though?
Oh, look, I think the argument against Kwasi Kwarteng is his ideas are bad. It's not where he comes from, it's not how what his background is or anything.
That is the argument she was making.
Even where he went to school, I don't care where he went to school.
Yeah.
I care where he wants to send the country.
Do you think, based on that, what she said there, if a white person had said that, he'd be saying they were racist?
Like, I've not seen I know that she's been suspended. I've not seen what she said. I just know that in Keir's party, if you say something that could cause problems, you're suspended immediately.
All right.
And that's the way it should be.
Well, I've got your comment on that. I won't drag you through it because that's not what we got you on for. So I hope you understand I have to ask you about that. Right, Keir Starmer, Tony Blair. Who's better in your opinion? Who's more charismatic? Who's got mass electability?
The best person to lead the Labour Party today is Keir Starmer, without a doubt.
Why?
Because he's got a view for the future. Tony was right for his time, Keir is right for this time. This is a Labour moment, but it's a Labour moment for a man with a plan. It's a Labour moment for a man who tore down Boris Johnson. It's a Labour moment for a guy who maybe doesn't think politics is such a game as Boris did, or that it's such an ideological thing as Liz Truss seems to think. It's a place now for a Labour man that's a bit more like Climatley than anybody else.
Right, so when Tony Blair was approaching a conference, okay, you must have been right there with him and he'd be going there to do his big speech and everything. What would his attitude be like? Was it like a bit of a rock star behind the scenes, getting himself all pumped up? How did he get that buzz in the room?
Tony had a great gift for speaking and a great deal of warmth he'd built up with the Labour Party. Remember, he stood first for Labour in 82, became an MP in 83, 11 years a backbencher before he became leader. And he was, he generated the same feeling in the chamber, in the conference chamber, as Starmer does, because he was a winner. People love a winner, and I think people can see in Keir the beginnings of a winner.
Has Starmer got a massive advantage, which is that now, a long time on, people can see all the different ways that Tony Blair has negatively affected Britain, whereas with Keir Starmer, we haven't had the chance to see that yet, have we?
Tony can stand on his record, I think.
What record?
Solving an 800-year-old fight in Northern Ireland, that dispute, the Irish dispute, over.
But then the forces, some of the armed forces say he threw them under the bus.
No, he didn't. No, listen, I'll tell you. If you're in our armed forces, you're not above the law. If you shoot to kill, as the paratroopers did, if you murder civilians, you should be put on trial. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
What about the IRA, though?
The IRA were jailed.
They got letters of comfort.
No, they didn't. The IRA didn't get any covers. No, IRA members who were not being investigated by the authorities were told they weren't being investigated. That's a totally different thing. That's like if I was told I was not being investigated by the cops. That's not an amnesty or anything. That's just like informing me.
Well,
the thing is, Tony Blair ended the Tory party's homophobia, and that was good for the whole country.
That's interesting. That is interesting. Keir Starmer, a lot of the criticism of him has been about a lack of charisma, okay? Do you think he needs a bit more of that? It's almost like you can't really teach it, isn't it? What would your advice to him be?
My advice to Keir would be go around and have a pint in every pub in the country.
It'd be legless. Well, the man will let him.
He's got 2.5 years. 2.5 years. If he goes and meets as many people as possible, like, he likes a beer, he loves football, he plays a neat game of five-a-side, he could get around the country, and that's what you have to do. You have to show the person you are. He can't pretend to be Churchill. Boris couldn't. He can't pretend to be Blair. No one can be Tony apart from Tony. He's got to be Starmer. And I think what we saw today was a man with a vision that's rooted in Britain. You know, why not Britain? And it's a great question.
The national anthem, the Union flag behind him there, I mean, let's be honest, that's a million miles away from where you were a couple of years
But also,
ago.
I mean, we had Palestinian flags under Corbyn. Now we've got the Union flag. That's a huge difference, a big symbol. And also, like, next week, we may be having the Prime Minister's speech in the middle of a sterling crisis as the pound equals the dollar. So I'd rather be the Labour Party offering positive change and being the party of sound money. A great thing. And the party of property ownership. Stealing Thatcher's clothes as well as Blair's.